And Principle 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Thank you to Julia and Laura, who will share the stories of their beliefs with us today. And Molly was also supposed to be a speaker, but she has a bad case of a cold and some other issues, not COVID. And so she isn't able to do this. So we'll have to wait till next year to hear her, because we only do this once a year. And then I have if I can find it, a little, here it is, oops, sorry. This is from Amy Johnson, the Religious Exploration Leader. This Sunday is an action Sunday for religious exploration. Children in grades 4K to 5th grade are focusing on the theme Gratitude Rocks, with crafts such as painting rocks and gratitude collages. Next Sunday is a multi-generational service, so youth are invited to remain upstairs with their families. Religious classes for the children will resume on the 21st. Okay.
Good morning. I'm Nate Otto, the board president for this year. Welcome to Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a religious community who commit ourselves to diversity. We hope to nourish human differences, those of gender, race, age, ability, sexual orientation, political views, culture, class, and religious belief. Welcome to all who treasure freedom of conscience and the search for truth. We promise to do our best to provide you a spiritual home. We extend a special welcome to our visitors today. We hope you follow our Facebook page. To participate in Zoom and receive announcements about special events and our religious exploration classes, please sign up for our weekly email. There should be a link in the comments section of our Facebook page. Every 5 years, our congregation gathers together to create a strategic plan to make a roadmap of how we'd like to contribute to have our congregation support others, grow, and flourish in the coming years. We want to hear from you. Members, visitors, and friends of the congregation like you are welcome to give input. Please complete the strategic plan survey online. There's a link in the UU Connections or in the chat in our Zoom. It's also available via paper in the back of the sanctuary over there. We also invite folks to the next strategic plan meeting on November. Our focus groups are November 10th at 6 p.m., November 17th at 2 p.m., and November 21st at 12:30 p.m. We would love to know what you love about our congregation and how you can envision it continuing to support ourselves and others. We're glad you could join us this morning.
Usually I don't have to ask my wife to turn me on. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Eau Claire. I'm Rob Kukta.
And I'm Greg Moore.
Last year at this time, we stood almost shoulder to shoulder outdoors reciting the highlights and wonderful items and activities of the past harvest auction.
We are today almost shoulder to shoulder indoors, eagerly anticipating the annual harvest auction online with new items and activities coming up for bids this coming Saturday. And we are
The Gregorian Chanters. The harvest auction organizers have done a truly remarkable job, which is why we are making remarks about it. In assembling a marvelous collection of live auction items. For those unfamiliar with this term, live auction, once upon a time, in the olden days, the people of this congregation and their friends would gather in person within a disclosed location with other persons there voluntarily and attempt to outbid each other on fantastic auction items without spilling their beverage, while still waving their numbered auction paddle as if they were surrounded by a storm cloud of gnats. The live auction features 2 Hawaii getaways, an Italian getaway, and a Hayward area getaway. There are even pet getaways when Spot and Fluffy need a break from each other. Handyman services, guided thrift excursions, drayage of whatever you need drayaged, like composted manure, firewood you've purchased in the silent auction, or those 15 cats of yours headed for Stephanie's house. The live auction also includes dessert on demand, 2 tickets to Stomped in March, metal casting, and speaking of casting, a fly fishing outing that would help get those pandemic-induced flabby arms in shape for next year's, fingers crossed, in-person auction. The items in the silent auction are many and worthy of your perusal. This is your chance to demonstrate the love you have for your neighbor by sneaking in at the last minute and overbidding your UU neighbor on socks, themed baskets, bowls, and other items that are must-haves for the coming year. Until then, the Gregorian Chanters wish you well, and we look forward to seeing your presence at the 2021 Harvest Auction.
How am I supposed to top that? Well, I'm Ken Adler on the Social Responsibility Committee. And this month's 50-50 Share the Plate recipients are a couple organizations that are working to help out people that have been displaced recently. One of the recipients is the Chippewa Valley Bridge Builders, which is a group of people that just started meeting in January. Most of the members are members of Jonah. And over the course of just a few months, they were able to make arrangements for a Honduran asylum-seeking family to come from a camp where they had been staying for 9 months at the border between Mexico and the United States and move up to Eau Claire into an apartment. They are spending money on legal fees, and right now the family can't legally earn any money. The family is 2 parents and 2 children. And so they're supporting them through this transition time. The family is now taking English language lessons, and hopefully within a year they will be able to start holding down jobs and supporting themselves and becoming full members of our community, depending on how the legal matters go. So that's one group that we're supporting, and the other group was kind of a difficult cause for us to explore, and this is the refugee people, the families and people that are staying at Fort McCoy. It was hard for us to kind of thread the needle and figure out which organizations, how to support them and stuff like that. But the Mahmoud S. Taman Foundation, which is located right here in Eau Claire and Chippewa Falls, they send a representative to Fort McCoy every week to kind of see what the needs are. And the needs are, of course, there's winter clothing and stuff like that, but one of the things that they've figured out is that everybody really misses having a certain kind of tea that people drink in Afghanistan. So their foundation, one of the things they're doing is just getting shipments of tea into them and things like that. You know, the Mahmoud Foundation has very local roots, and I think they'll use good judgment. So that will be part of the money that you give to the 50-50 Share the Plate this month too. So I encourage you to give what you see is fit this month. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome to our Facebook friends, and welcome to our Zoom friends, and welcome to everyone joining us here in the sanctuary. Even though our friend Julie isn't with us this week and her able-bodied Karen is running the show for us, our words for lighting the chalice are by our very own Julie and Leff. Please join me as we say them in unison. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of vision, and welcoming of multiple truths.
Our first speaker is Julia. Julia grew up in Eau Claire and was a child of the UU Fellowship in the 1960s, this very fellowship church right here. After majoring in music and humanities at the U of Minnesota, she studied law and worked as an attorney in St. Paul. She also got a master's degree in library science and worked as a reference librarian. Julia and her husband moved to Eau Claire to retire, and she enjoys reading, playing bridge and mahjong, kayaking, walking her dog, and playing the piano. Julia.
Thank you, Karen. I've decided to talk about what I believe happens when I die. When I was growing up, I really wanted to be a Christian. My family wasn't Christian, and when my friends talked about church on the playground, I always wanted to be like them, believing in Jesus and going to heaven. In college, I went to Bible studies with my roommate, and I was engaged to a Christian. My fiance believed that I would have to be saved or he would go to heaven and I would go to hell. So obviously that didn't work out. I really wanted to go to heaven too, and I just couldn't believe that after I died there was a heaven only for people who believed that Jesus was their Savior. And if I didn't go to heaven, what would hell be like for me? I tried not to think about that because it was too scary. But at times, I would suddenly stop and think about what it would be like after I died. That would absolutely terrify me. My idea of an afterlife was to not exist at all. Black nothingness. To have no thoughts, no feelings, no me, no I. Honestly, I would have to fight off a feeling of dread. Back in Eau Claire after retiring, I started coming here looking for alternate ways of looking at religion. I came here hoping that I could find a community that believed something that would make that fear go away. Here, I found more questions than answers. But I kept coming, listening to the words of the readings and the sermons, and trying to come up with an idea of an afterlife that was not the black nothingness that terrified me. Encouraged by all the different ideas here, I started a journal where I put quotes and drawings and images that I feel are critical to my understanding of who I am spiritually. It's basically the book of me. Looking back at all the quotes in that journal, when I started working on this talk, I was looking back at all those quotes in the journal, and the one that I feel most viscerally when I reread it is from the Desiderata. It says, "You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here." This line, I don't know what it is, it just hits me and it feels magical to me, and every time I reread it or say it out loud, I immediately experience just this feeling of deep peace, but also just like it just hits me. We know that science says we are made of stardust. Neil deGrasse Tyson says, not only are we in the universe is in us. So when I started working on this talk and asking myself, what do I believe at my core, I realized that I believe that I come from stardust in the universe. I truly believe that I am a child of the universe, here on earth, as a result of some cosmic coming together. As a child of the universe, I believe that I need to honor that universe by trying to be a good person on this earth. Every day, I try to be as good as I possibly can be that day and to make a positive impact on at least one person, even if it's small. In addition to trying my best on this earth to be good, I have started to figure out what I believe about what happens after we die. I know that my beliefs are being formed as a reaction to my deep fear of death and nothingness, as well as the possibility that my Christian friends could be right and I actually could go to hell. But my belief that I'm a child of the universe is becoming stronger, and my fear of dying is at this point to a large extent gone. I believe that when we're born, we are given a magical, mysterious energy that we call spirit or soul, which comes along with our bodies, but is separate from our bodies. I believe that when we die, it is only our bodies that die, and not our soul spirits. Those live on after death. I can't believe that the soul spirit that I have, my feelings, my emotions, the I or me, is solely a part of my corporeal existence when I feel an ache from music or from nature or from poetry like the Desiderata. It cannot come solely from my brain. Rather, I believe that those feelings are a separate energy from the universe. I believe that my energy will not be destroyed when my body dies. I believe that my energy will be liberated from my body and move on. I believe that the energy from my spirit will become intertwined with the energy of others somewhere in the universe. Eventually, a part of that energy will move on to another being to become that being's soul spirit. Obviously, I don't know the mechanics of the spiritual universe that I believe in. I don't know whether my energy will move into a form that is another human or another form even on this planet. All I know is that I believe after I die, my soul spirit will live on. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. This is the time in our service for giving. And I have a reading here. In the words of Heather Christensen, Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. That vision is embodied in a few large congregations, numerous mid-sized congregations, and many, many small congregations. No matter its size, every congregation depends on each of its members. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make that grand vision real. Individually and together, we are Unitarian Universalists, building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. Our 50-50 Share the Plate recipient for November is the Chippewa Valley Bridge Builders, which we just heard about. On your order of service, you can scan to donate or text to give at 84321. On-site donations can be made in the donation drop box right back there in the gathering room. Checks can be mailed here to the church at 421 South Farwell. Now we'll hear from a wonderful duet.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that toss, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad.
Please join me in the congregational response. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
We lift up our hearts in thanks by Richard Fuchs.
For the sun and the dawn, which we did not create.
For the moon and the evening, which we did not make,
for food which we plant but cannot grow,
for friends and loved ones we have not earned and cannot buy,
for this gathered company which welcomes us as we are, from wherever we have come,
for all our free churches that keep us human and encourage us in our quest for beauty, truth, and love,
for all things which come to us as gifts of being from sources beyond ourselves,
gifts of life and love and friendship. We lift up our hearts and thanks this day.
Our next speaker is Laura Getz. Laura is from Eau Claire, where she grew up on the north side and graduated from North High. Both her parents majored in music at UWEC. Laura has a BA in history from UWEC with minors in English and women's studies and an MA in women's studies. She loves to sing and make music. She also loves to read, kayak, and be out in nature. Laura.
Good morning. It's great to see those of you who are here in person and to be with all of those who are online. My t-shirt reads Peaceful Persistence. It shows 3 drawings: an egg that is just starting to be broken open from the inside, a butterfly, and a garlic bulb. These elements feature on the cover of local author Michael Perry's enjoyable essay collection, Peaceful Persistence. Life requires persistence. Being in relationship with others requires it. Weeding a garden requires it. Learning to sing or play an instrument requires it. Voting in person on a cold, snowy day requires it. From what I've heard, new math requires it. We're also persisting in the face of misinformation and disinformation, of attempts to frighten and unsettle us, so as to divide us for the gain, not of us, but of those who are fueling the divisiveness, of assaults on voting rights, of injustice of all types, of pandemic. Well, my blood pressure and heart rate just went up reading that last sentence, so I'm going to do what I've done a lot these past few years and take a deep breath. And another. And mentally step back and let the adrenaline rush pass. Let my cortisol level return to a more normal state. And then look again with a cooler head and a calmer core. And remember that challenging times also offer opportunity. They're stressful, absolutely. But as a history major who thinks about the past to inform my views of the present, I feel excited that it's my turn to help affect change that I believe in, such as fair redistricting maps in Wisconsin and federal voting rights legislation. Each of us has the opportunity to affect change. That is exciting. Some of you may know the quote often attributed to John Wesley, founder of Methodism, about doing all the good you can and all the times you can and all the places you can, etc. Inspiring. But now that I'm hurtling towards 50, it sounds exhausting. We need time to be. Resting and having fun and recharging and eating chocolate are vital to our well-being and to our well-doing, certainly to mine. The JFK quote, "One person can make a difference and everyone should try," is inspiring and seems less taxing than Wesley's approach. But English primatologist Jane Goodall highlights the worth and potential of every person thus. Every individual matters. Every individual has a role to play. Every individual makes a difference. Every individual in all our diversity. Diversity of identity, ability, interests, education level, spiritual belief or not, profession, likes and dislikes, hobbies, more than I can list here. All of them are key. Without the diversity of the natural world, we wouldn't be here. To survive and thrive, we need everything and every being, human and otherwise. Even mosquitoes, I know I don't like them either, but they're important in the food chain. Another advantage of celebrating diversity is that precisely because of our diverse ways of being and interests and skills and talents, no one need fret about trying to work on everything. Each individual can focus on what resonates with them, knowing they will find a like-minded community with whom to work to make the world better. March 2020 brought an unexpected opportunity to combine my love of music, my desire to create positive community, and my advocacy for social justice in the form of the Saturday Sing-Along. Each Saturday evening for 45 to 60 minutes, starting at 6 p.m. Central, I live streamed on Facebook and eventually on Zoom as well, singing and talking, usually from the hallway in our home. I mostly accompanied myself on ukulele with occasional banjo or piano accompaniment. Dawn wrangled dogs, ran tech, shared lyrics in the comments, and provided moral support. The sing-along brought together people from various communities and eras of Dawn's life, my life, and our life together, with people joining in from around the country and even from Europe. New songs were learned, familiar songs shared, and new friendships made. Together, the Saturday Sing-Along family created a homey respite for ourselves in the midst, apart together and together apart. Each week, I chose and rehearsed songs, singing while practicing the chord changes. I didn't get every ukulele chord right on Saturday nights, but we carried on. I'd warn people to just ignore my playing and sing on through. Being in community and focusing on music, which makes me happy and reinforces my resilience, anchored me. One song that's been playing in my mind this past year is We're in This Together by our own Ken Adler. Persisting is a little easier when we remember that we are in community, even in hard times. Another such song is Tricia Alexander's Love is All Around Me, which we sang to close each of the 65 Saturday sing-alongs to date. Her song reminds us that we can intentionally shift our focus to see that love, joy, hope, and peace are all around us, and that we can see it because we know what we're looking for. It's hard to be peaceful and persistent in spirit and word and action in the face of injustice and of angry bullying attacks on people, institutions, and ideals we hold dear. To persist and to act is to do the hard thing. But we who are in relationship with others, who know the satisfaction of a weeded garden, who enjoy singing or playing an instrument we have learned, who have voted on a cold, snowy day, or have learned new math, we know we can do it. May love, joy, hope, and peace be with you all. Thank you.
Can't believe I'm back here already. Thank you to Laura and Julia. The words were very inspirational for someone like me. Thank you. Please join me, even up here, with the words of Elizabeth Joan as we say in unison, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thank you to everybody who had a part in this service. The closing words are by Eric Williams. Blessed is the path on which you travel. Blessed is the body that carries you upon it. Blessed is your heart that has heard the call. Blessed is your mind that discerns the way. Blessed is the gift that you will receive by going. Truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. May you go forth in peace. And I have to wait for Kurt to tell me something.